And we're back to another Modern Day Bees podcast. To my left, I have the one and only
Andrew Picard.
And behind the camera, we have the chosen one, only known as
Elizabeth Peters.
And finally, not least, not last, you have me, Teddy Picard. And we're here for another great show today. Appreciate y'all for making it today. Let's start off. How are we feeling? How's everybody feeling? It's hot.
Remember last year when we recorded this for the first time, and it was also summer,
Yeah.
and all we said it was hot in the beginning. It's like it came full circle.
Yes. Is that? Do we have that out?
That's their first real podcast. It's on YouTube right now.
But it's no video.
It's a video. It's a video.
Oh,
It's on YouTube.
okay.
I'm wearing pink shorts, and I was saying I was hot. You're wearing your safari hat. And
Oh wow.
yeah.
This be episode. What episode is this? Number 7?
I don't know. It's not so
No, the reason I'm bringing it up is like, wow, we did this many, this many podcasts, and it's been a year now. So it's like, we've done.
Yeah, we've done less than 10 podcasts that are live on YouTube, which is all right for us beginning for a podcast. But hopefully, if we can get into a rhythm or pre-record, if that's what y'all want, to get more content out, we could get more than 10 in a year. But
Yeah.
we're just starting still, and I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm always learning. So are these guys.
Allegedly. Liz, how are you feeling about the heat?
I'm doing okay. I have my mini fan.
Mini fan?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
No, this is not a sponsor. What? Wow.
Ooh, my arm.
Oh, that's just an excuse to use the fan.
Yes.
Aw, man.
Oh, thank goodness.
Ugh. You have one.
Oh! Okay. Yeah,
Anyways, let's get into it. What are we talking about today, guys?
good question, Liz. What do you have for us,
Oh,
moderator?
You know what's really tasty though?
Hmm.
It's like this green thing, edamame.
God.
I like that it's salty.
I've never had edamame before, but I just want to segue into anime because they sound similar. So maybe I'll try edamame one day. Maybe live on camera too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Before I let you bring him to topic, honey, Liz.
Oh, yeah.
You know what is also good, just as good at edamame?
Huh.
Eminem, the musician.
You know, I haven't listened to his music in a little bit.
She's a bad thing. Fine as hell.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
That's my,
That's my
baby.
baby. Caroline. Oh, Caroline. You guys know the song.
Oh, I love that
All right,
song.
Liz. What are we talking about today?
Edamame.
We're talking about anime.
Wow.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Have you guys watched any anime? Ever?
Ever?
I love animation made by Japanese people.
I appreciate you breaking that. You know what? That's a great way to break that down, actually. I never even know what that meant. What does anime mean? Please.
I just said it kind of just like animation made by Japanese producers, animators, writers, storytellers. Yeah.
But do you guys think anime is different from cartoons?
Yes.
Okay. What is the difference in your guys' opinion?
I kind of said it, like the distinction's more Japanese made. SpongeBob is not anime. I know you're gonna get me on semantics that that is
Avatar.
no, not that. I was gonna get into that,
Oh,
but
okay.
cartoons in general to them is anime, but to us, we shouldn't call any cartoon anime because SpongeBob is not anime to us. That's just cartoon. But a Japanese person that lives in Japan that's watching Saturday morning cartoons is probably watching anime, what is known to us as anime. But I guess any cartoon for them would be anime.
Are most... Okay, so my question now with that then is with anime, would you say that it is a separate... Are most animes adult? Are there any animes that are not adult? You know what I mean? Because we have adult anime. We have in America adult animation, but that's different from anime, right? Because like Family Guy, Bob's Burgers. Those are all a little bit more adult. You have like Rick and Morty, but then you have animations like Dora the Explorer and stuff like that. Are those separate? You know what I mean? Am I making sense? Like anime is all just adult?
No.
Okay.
There's plenty of
Yeah,
anime
kids?
suited for children
Okay.
or younger or family-friendly audiences.
I got you.
Plenty of Studio Ghibli movies
Yeah, that's true.
are very family-friendly. Some aren't, but you know.
Yep.
And I wonder if for you to be considered anime, you also have to have a similar formula. Because I feel like most of the animes that I watch, it's always like, even if it's a drama thing, they always have like this quirky, funny thing behind it. Like whether it's in the animation itself, like you'll see an character doing something, and it's a serious show, but then something funny happens or something weird happens, like a piano falls in front of them, and then they make like this weird face, like whoa, and like they make the big, they make the big like facial expressions. All right.
Yeah, I was serious.
I get that's it. What? Am I canceled? Is that bad? No, but you guys get what I'm saying though?
Yeah, I think there's formulas for making when most animation studios in Japan are creating anime. But I think stuff like what you were saying, like we said before, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, they do like funny faces midway through when like someone's showing a reaction. Also, like the 2005, 2014 Titan show also does stuff like that. But those aren't anime; they're anime-inspired TV shows because they're made by American and other international writers and producers.
Yeah.
I think there is like stuff that naturally does come up in a lot of animes, like I feel like at least the animes that I watch, they can be very information dense, so they find different creative ways of dispersing information throughout the episodes, through whether that's like through a character giving exposition, like Piccolo in Dragon Ball Z. All he does is give exposition. Like when they're watching people fight Piccolo, and like he's like has his arms crossed, standing next to one, he's like talking out loud to the person, but it's actually for the audience to know. Yeah. If it's not out loud exposition, then a lot of animes will just do like inner monologues, like what they're thinking, but we can hear what they're thinking. But also they'll state the obvious to other characters as well, just for the sake of the audience.
Right.
Even if a lot of us do get what they're saying.
Do you like that they do that? You guys like that? Because sometimes I feel like it's a little excessive at points. But I get to your point, the you for the audience. But sometimes I'm like, I already got it, you know?
Yeah,
Because that's why I feel like that's what also adds a lot more filler to like a lot of anime shows too.
I think when it's information dense, it can be a bit much for me, but I can understand why, especially because, you know, it was made in a different country, and like when it comes to international audiences, they want to make sure that translation barrier is jumped over, so they want to make themselves clear when developing the story. But Elizabeth, what do you think the story was?
Did you grow up watching anime when you were younger, or did you kind of get into it more in your adult life, Liz?
For me, I would say that I grew up watching anime, but I feel like I really got into it later on. Like after COVID, I feel like it was one of my special interests that I became more like, oh, I should get back into this, and then I was able to enjoy more. What about you guys?
You know, when I think about it, like when I was like my ages of like 3 and like 7 or 8, when we used to go back to Florida to visit a lot of family members, I definitely remember watching a lot of like Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z GT. Wild time. I was so confused when that stuff came out because I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. So I watched a lot of those growing up, and then when I got to a point where we moved to PA, and I stopped for a little bit. But then I think there was a point where like I got into middle school. We were in PA again, and like I think you were a little too young for us to have like deep conversations, so I didn't have anything to watch with. But it was definitely more like that's when it was like Toonami came out, and I was watching Naruto, and that's when Naruto was really coming out, and I was like early days Naruto, like before they got older, all that other stuff. Like they were talking about the Chunin exams, like that was crazy.
That was fun.
You know what I'm saying? So I would say, yeah, I guess technically I've been watching my whole life, but there's been different points where I took a break. So like high school came, and then I didn't watch it at all. But then I met Christian,
Mhm.
who you guys will meet down the line, or you guys have heard before us talk about, and he was a big anime guy, but he wasn't like public about it. But when we became friends, he let me know that he was into it, and he had me watch like Attack on Titan and stuff like that. And I like remember I went crazy on Attack on Titan when it first came out, and that's where that really came from me really being re-energized to watch it again. And I feel like low key, you know, and I'm not taking credit, but I feel like when I talked to you about anime a little bit more candidly, when you met me and met Christian, you kind of got back into it also, which is nice to see. Cause what, you know. How about you, Andrew?
Yeah, similar thing to what you said. When we were younger, the only anime that I was exposed to was Dragon Ball Z. And then since then, between that time and like high school, I don't think I had too much exposure to anime. I think I watched Attack on Titan probably after high school, which is crazy. I still haven't finished the last 2 seasons. Yeah. We gotta touch on that too. Like we said before, I've watched anime-inspired TV shows like the 2014 Titans, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of my favorite shows of all time, and I'm blanking on the names of who created that show. I think it's Brian and Michael. Yeah. They're not. They're American, but they've taken the time to visit different countries, and they did a lot of research to make sure, and consulted with like martial artists to get the fighting styles for that show and like get the culture done in a respectful way. So I appreciate that. It's one of my all-time favorite TV shows, even though it's not anime, but I love that show.
Yeah.
And then after high school, and like I watched Dragon Ball Super all the way through. That was pretty good.
How do you think the public feeling has changed towards anime since you were kids and now that you're an adult?
That's a good question. I feel like I don't think that I saw this personally but then again, no one really talked about it, so maybe that's why. But when I got into high school and when I got to my end of my high school time and like way after that, even like now, it seems like the consensus was like anime was a thing to be scared of, to talk about. Like there's all those memes that were on like Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, where people would be like, "You like anime?" And it'd be the meme where it was like, "This mofo likes anime," and it's like everybody's trying to expose them to everybody, and it's like a bad thing. And I'm like, so I've heard a lot more about that, and like my buddy Christian makes that joke a lot also, especially when we were growing up in high school, and it just seems weird. But even now, having the bookstore, we even have people coming in here, and that mindset's still there a little bit. I would say, to stick on that point, growing up, it seems like that was kind of a shunned thing, and if you talk about it publicly to not the right people, you would be made fun of. This is what I get. And it's very looked upon as like because it's animation, even though there's Bob's Burgers, there's The Simpsons and Family Guy. There are still people who look at it as like these are childish things. I remember we had an incident when we came in here, and obviously me and Liz, all of us watch anime, so someone came here as a mom, and she was like trying to like, "Do you guys have any of that manga?" I'm trying to get a manga for my son, manga. And he was like, "Yeah, I don't know. He still likes these. He's like 10, and he still likes these childish books." And I'm like, first of all, he's 10 years old. He's more than, I would say he's more than okay. I'm not your parent, but I'm like, but you're still talking about it like it's childish. And when you have parents who are talking about it like that, it's like it must be kind of discouraging for like even the kids to like be comfortable about it when your parent is talking about it. So I like to think that things have changed big time there, but they still have the lingering people who still look at it as like a more kid type situation.
Oh God. Mango.
Yeah, so I wonder if we're gonna change that mindset, if we're ever gonna go to it being a little bit more normal, and maybe not normal, but maybe more like okay and perceived to be okay by the masses.
I think we're definitely getting there. I think we've made great strides. Not me personally, but I think there's plenty of conventions that are getting more and more popular and filled to the brim with cosplayers and just avid fans, and people just wear merch and like, you know, items from their favorite shows in anime. And I don't know. I think when I was in I'm a little bit younger than Ted. When I was in high school, not too many people did bring up anime too much, I guess. But I feel like if it was brought up, it wasn't like shunned down. Like no one was really ragging on it. But that was just my experience. That was anecdotal. But from what I've seen since then, in the years later, people seem pretty open about it. And then obviously online and social media, people seem to welcome it and talk about it like it's mainstream.
Yeah. And to your point, what you said about merch, I think we're even seeing like, I think we were used to seeing like comic book stores and stores that have manga in them, but now we're starting to even see like we're starting to see full out hybrid stores now, like box lunch. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And but I think that's great, because I think it'll help push us to the future of it being more normal. We started to see like these movies that are getting full movie theater times now, like the Demon Slayer type of show movies.
The Dragon Ball Z movies got limited theatrical releases too when they come out.
Yes, and so like those type of things are shaping it to become a normal thing, and we're seeing like the streaming platforms like Netflix and HBO Max, they're just coming out with their own like Japanese animation now. But at the same time, on the bad part of it, I think about like a box lunch or hybrid anime place types, and you know they're bulking up the prices like crazy now. So now you're starting to see the negative effects of it becoming popular, and people, of course, capitalism is really coming into it. So
yeah. Box lunch definitely is all over the place with anime stuff. But like what you're saying about like hiking up the prices, I feel like a Spencer's or like a Hot Topic, or I think, you know, they probably dabbled in selling merchandise like that, but now since they've caught wind of it being a little bit more mainstream, they're like, oh, supply and demand.
Yep. Yes.
But you know, all that to say, not to discourage anybody from buying merch, because there's plenty of avenues to get your anime and manga merch. I got Elizabeth a Sailor Moon t-shirt off Etsy. Yeah. I've seen, you know, in Dragon Ball, I keep bringing up Dragon Ball because I love Dragon Ball Z. The rings like Goku and Vegeta have to wear for like fusion. I have that on my wish list on Etsy.
Oh, nice.
The most recent anime I've been currently watching, I don't know if we're gonna get to this, asking each other what our recent anime picks were, but I've been recently watching Hunter x Hunter, and I've been obsessed with it. And there's this one character, his name's Kurapika, and he's really tripped out.
Sexy.
Yeah, he's pretty androgynous actually, but he's pretty dripped out. I love his little outfits, and he's got this like chain bracelet thing and like rings. I also added that to my Etsy wish list. And he also has like this earring thing. So I'm part of the problem. I'm buying the merch too.
Damn. Hey Liz, what are you watching right now?
I'm currently watching One Piece. Yes, indeed. And I'm on the Impel Down arc. So I am like almost at the time skip. Spoiler. What are you watching, Ted?
Right now, I'm not watching any anime right now, but since I'm not watching, I'll give you guys some of my favorite ones. Kind of like Andrew, I would say also Dragon Ball Z. You know, I will say, I know we have Hot Topics, we normally hit, you guys know this, but I will say Hot Topic for me when it comes to anime, there's a trinity of anime. The trinity has to be Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, and One Piece. Now, for me, One Piece can be kicked out of there. For some people, I put Bleach in there. I don't think there's enough seasons in Bleach for that to be in there.
There's like 16 seasons.
Oh, see, bruh, I've never even watched Bleach. That's how you know what I'm talking about. And I think there's something else that they put in, like something black. Covenant Black?
Black Clover?
Black Clover. People love putting that in there. I'm like, I definitely not. Nah. So for me, I feel like Hot Topic. I would say, not really hot topic, hot take, but Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and Naruto are the trinity of animes. And I'd love to have that conversation more at another time. But I would say the ones for me that are my favorites are Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, My Hero Academia. I love My Hero Academia. We are blessed to have that in this generation. And people who are not on there yet, get on there. No judgment. Attack on Titan, Your Lie in April. Liz, what are some other? I really enjoy some of the softer ones that have a little bit more drama to them, a little bit tearjerkers.
Kimi no Todoroki.
Kimi no Todoroki. And there's another one that's a T also. It's like the little girl.
Toradora.
Toradora. Those would be some of my top 10s personally. Do you have a couple that you really enjoy, Andrew? That you would say are up there for you?
No, I've seen a couple of anime, but I feel like I still haven't seen enough to give the definitive list for myself. But the whole Dragon Ball series is definitely on top of that list for me. I also really enjoy Attack on Titan, but once again, I haven't finished it. I think I haven't even finished Hunter x Hunter, but that's already up there for me. I just love the main characters' relationship. It's just, they're really like this, and it's like, you know what's crazy? This might be lost on whoever's watching this. They're not into anime. I don't know. So you see Hunter x Hunter, right? So the main characters
Up until where you're at now.
So the main characters Killua and Gon, they remind me a lot of Trunks and Goten from Dragon Ball.
They do.
Trunks is obviously Killua and Gon is Goten.
Yes.
So I just love that aspect of it too. I know we're going all over the place, jumping around. You mentioned Dragon Ball GT. Thoughts on that?
I don't know if I can speak on it yet. I think I need a refresher. I also, just like Andrew, well, maybe not just like you, but recently I've restarted Dragon Ball Z because I need a refresher after almost 20 years.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I hadn't watched Dragon Ball Z since I was little, so it's
20
like...
years is, as you said, 20 years is crazy.
I mean, if I was watching it at 8, it makes sense.
Oh, God.
Just saying.
I mean,
nearly 2 decades, honestly.
I was supposed to show, this is another different, well, you know, it's anime adjacent, I guess. I meant to show you this post. It was, Power Rangers SPD turns 20 years old next year.
Oh, nice.
And apparently, like, all the comments in the comment section were saying, like, did you know that show takes place in 2025? And I was like, oh, wow.
That's cool.
That's the...
With the dog, yeah? The dog as the leader. The black guy as the red Power Ranger.
I think, no, it's the one of, like, they're like police cars, and, like, they have, like, the cars that turn into their Megazord.
Megazords.
And it's, like futuristic cars. There's, like, 4 or 5 Rangers in this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It's
I'm
like
with you.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I don't want to say it. It gives like a more Disney Channel show vibe.
Yeah.
With the cast.
Well, they hit a point where they got a little bit more Disney Channel type.
Yeah. Funny enough, though, went to Nickelodeon towards like 2013. Like they were.
Power Rangers?
Like Nickelodeon didn't own it, but like they would air the new current show
right.
on Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Hey, I know we're talking about anime, but because we're talking about, we gotta get a Power Ranger conversation at one point, or childhood shows that got us. Whenever Mystic Force or Power Rangers came out, that's where you lost me. I'm gonna tell you right there, I have not watched anything since then. That was where it all went downhill for me. I still love Power Rangers and I support it, but that's where it all went down for me. What do you got for us, Liz?
So, I think this is also, no one asked me, but my favorite anime are Yu Yu Hakusho, Sailor Moon, and Inuyasha. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Yes, they're all from the 90s.
Dragon Ball Z's from the 90s.
Whoa.
And Hunter x Hunter.
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
It doesn't feel like it.
I know, but
it's because the redraw. It was reanimated.
Oh, okay, got it.
That always takes me out when I see these classic animes and it's like, oh, this is not actually as new as I thought it was. It's not a bad thing. It's just always surprising.
I do feel like some of the writing was, we'll leave it at that. Yeah. I think, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's not as well written, but that maybe it's just ones that I've watched. There are some things that are really well written. Akira!
Yo, that was crazy.
That's from the 80s.
Yeah, which is wild.
That was a wild movie.
Dragon Ball, where Goku is like a child from the beginning, is from the 80s as well.
See, Akira's a perfect example of what I feel like. Watching it took a lot out of me. But like, if it was like, if the writers who create My Hero were to create Akira now, I think the plot and the story and like the dialogue would be a lot more enjoyable for me than it was back then, because I don't enjoy a lot of the dialogue and like the everything that's going on.
Akira is not a racing movie.
It also goes back to what we were talking about, how, like, what we were saying, how, like, you know, this is Japanese-made content that, and once again, you know, at the time when the 80s, you know, Americans were like, what's anime, da-da-da. So they would still have to jump over this, you know, translation barrier. So, like, the writing might be different, voice actors are different, and, like, you know, what is it? Back then, people had Akira, Cowboy Bebop, Ghost in the Shell, these classics that really got Americans into anime.
That's a good point.
And, like, Western cultures into anime.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I appreciate you telling me that, because it's not always a game. And I love games.
Me too.
I really love games.
Yeah, so for today's game, we'll be playing some Mad Gab. So on the screen, you'll see a kind of cluster of letters, and you have to find out what they're really saying. You guys ready to get started?
Yes.
I think we'll do about, I don't know, till we get tired. All right, guys, let's get started.
Okay.
Abe Odd Hollock Oak.
Old Hollock Oak.
A bottle, a load of
A bottle of oak.
a bottle of Coke.
A bottle of Coke.
Yes.
A bottle of Coke.
That was me though. That was me though.
Who was that? Andrew Ted. Who was it?
I think that Andrew whispered it, but then Teddy said it louder.
So who was first?
She told you.
I know, but why did you say it like that?
Ooh.
Oh.
A straight taste student.
I already saw it.
A straight student. A straight student. A straight.
A
Wait.
straight A student.
A straight A student. Who got that one?
I got that one.
Okay, so 2-0.
Aid our Crinkloud. Aid our Crinkloud. Aid our Crinkloud. Aid
Hey,
our
yo.
Crinkloud.
A.R. Crankloud.
Aid our Crinkloud. Aid our Crink. Aid our Crink. It's definitely.
A Frank Cloud.
Aid our. I just want to keep. Aid our Crinkloud. Ain't our Crackloud. Aid our Crinkloud. AARP.
You remember?
I remember.
Aid
Been around
our
since 2022.
Crankloud.
Aid
Probably
our
put some time limits on this.
Aid our Crinkloud. Aid our Crinkloud. Aid our Crinkloud. Aid our Crink. Aid
We'll
our.
cut down to 5 because we're not getting this.
Aid our Crinkloud. 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 What?
Under a rain cloud.
No! No!
Under a rain cloud?
No.
Aid
A rain cloud.
Aid our Crinkloud.
Battery's not included. That wasn't it. What was it?
Black
A dark green cloud.
I said that.
Can you keep past egret?
Can you pass a cigarette?
Can you keep a secret?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
3-1.
3.
3-1.
When did you get 1?
The one that we couldn't get.
Okay. Cohen peas. Go in peace. That's 4-1.
Okay, alright.
Ah,
Can we give me a go? Because I didn't know we were
you're
starting.
getting cooked right now.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Cry cub kook.
Cry cub hook. Cry cub.
Cry cub hook.
Cry cub hook.
Cry
Cry cub hook. Cry cub hook. Cry cub.
hook.
Jeez. Cry cub hook. Cry cub hook.
Cry cub hook.
Cry
Book,
cub hook.
bookcase.
Cry cub hook. Cry cub hook.
Oh.
Cry
Crikey.
cry cub hook.
Cry cub hook. Cry cub hook.
Cry cub hook. Cry cub hook. Cry cub hook.
Crack a book.
Yes.
Thank you.
Crack a book.
6-2. 5-2.
That's how tall I am. Oopsies.
5'2".
5'2". Don Dude Rugs. Don Dude Rugs. Don Dude Rugs.
Yes.
Don Dude Rugs. What was
Don
it?
Dude Rugs?
Oh.
You didn't say anything. You just
Sorry,
said the thing.
I heard you say it.
Don Dude Rugs.
Yes.
Don't do
Don't
drugs.
do drugs.
That's 6'2".
That's
That was
6'2".
tied.
6'3". Come on
You're
now.
so cooked. You're not boiling.
5'2",
You're not
5'2".
simmering. You're not steaming.
Delete
You're
Elmer
cooked.
Maid. Delete Elmer Maid. Delete.
Feliz Navidad.
Delete Elmer Maid.
Felicidad.
Delete
Delete
Elmer
Elmer
Maid.
Mhm.
Alma Mater.
Homemade.
Delete Elmer Maid.
Delete the maid.
Lemonade.
The little
No.
the little mermaid.
The Little
Yes.
Mermaid. 7.
Oh.
Ah.
6'3".
Okay. Now to break the tie, here's the last one.
I already knew. Come on now.
Oh, that's not a good one.
Ease owner hole. Ease owner hole. He's honors their own. Fuck.
Ease your own hole.
Ease owner hole.
Ease owner hole.
Ease owner hole. Ease owner hole.
He's on her hole.
Ease-
He's on her own.
I keep dancing on my own.
He's on her hole.
I should cut that out for copyright because someone started playing that song.
Mm.
That wasn't me singing. Someone just played that
Mhm.
song.
He's on her hole.
Ease owner hole.
He's on her own.
He's on a roll.
Wow.
You're cooked.
Like a hot dog on a roll.
So I lost this game, but you already know. Every podcast we do a game for y'all. Check out what the next game is gonna be. It could be the same game we've done before. It could be a new game, but normally I win. So this is a free time.
I don't
To
know.
end off the pod, we're gonna do a hot take. How do you guys feel about procreation? Children.
Is that a hot take?
What's your personal stance?
Oh, so we're giving hot takes about kids.
Sure.
Okay. I'm sure I understand. Yeah, I mean, this is a good question. I think, especially for Liz and I, we're going through a situation where a lot of our friends are having babies. I would say Liz and I are not looking to have kids as of right now, at least until probably in our 30s. That's looking like.
I'm already in my 30s. What's holding you guys back?
Yikes.
Well, what would be holding you guys back from having a baby?
Desire.
Desire would be one
Desire.
for sure.
Fire and desire.
Fire and desire.
That's a good song.
There's no really like real big pull for me as of right now. I think when I was younger, like when I was in high school, I wanted to be a person who had kids at like age 21, and I just wanted to be married that young and all that stuff. But like obviously that didn't happen, and obviously that wasn't like plausible or made sense for me. I don't know. I think the more people near us have kids, it's kind of pushed me to want to wait a lot more. One, because of the times that we're living in, and I just think about like bringing a kid into the world, and I feel like that's everybody says that, but really think about it, you know what I mean? Like, especially with me and Liz, like if we specifically are bringing kids in the world, you know, there's going to be some challenges I see them going through in the future. So
That'd be a biracial kid.
it would be a biracial kid.
Triracial.
Triracial.
Whoa.
Never before seen.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that because I think people are gonna just not like them. I just think like I hope the best, but you just never know what they're gonna go through. And I think about certain laws that are being passed and or overturned in the past couple of years and things that might happen in the future. And I think maybe people who like look at me or have known me and look different than me, and I'm like, you know, what if I was going through this situation? Would you allow that to happen? So I can't allow that to happen too. I wouldn't want that to allow. I don't want to be in a position where I put them in that when they're older and I'm not even on the planet. You know what I mean? So I just think about a lot of those things. But also, I'm not gonna lie to you. After about like half an hour, I'm kind of off of it when I'm like visiting the kids, especially when they're young. Like right now, there's not really much to go on with. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But yeah, there's really no pool, and I'm not hitting to anybody. I think that's great. I think people who are having kids, you're doing miracles. I think you know, shout out to everybody who's being a parent. Sorry to people who are being step parents, but as far as having kids, right now, I'm good off that as of right now. Andrew?
Yeah, I'm not really a kids person. Never have been. Hopefully, never will be. And I just want to be a good parent. I have the self-awareness that I just know, you know, you can call me selfish, and I'll take that. I just love my me time, and I cannot give that time to offspring, me personally. And like you said, you know, the state of current affairs in the world, climate change, leadership and whatnot, and you know, my child would also be a minority. They'd be black. So yeah, just maneuvering with that, and you know,
Yeah, I'm gonna pick it back off that a little bit. You made a point of like I want to be I want to be responsible, or something like that. Would you say something like I know something like on the term? Something that you said came out to me because I think about art. Like you brought up our childhood, you know, stuff like that. And for me, I think about like how our parents went about raising us, and I think like being the firstborn child. I look back at things now, and I'm like, I think especially our mom had a harder time of parenting. Actually, I'd say both of them had an equal hard time parenting, and I'm like, is that because I was the first child, or is it because you guys weren't ready to be parents? And when I think about that, I'm like, okay, well, I want to give a lot less flack for the fact that I was giving them from before, because now I'm older and I get how hard it is, or I can see why it would be so hard. But that is the same reason why I'm trying to be, to your point, I'm trying to be responsible in a sense of like, why would I just be like, yeah, let's have a kid. Let me have a kid. And that's something that really frustrates me when it comes to like a lot of other people when they're like, oh, you don't know this when it's your turn, or you're not gonna have kids, or they don't take it as well. And it's like, well, would you rather me be not prepared, not mentally prepared, financially, physically? And I know you're not ever financially gonna be ready, but like all those things just to have a kid, like that's not really true love. If I'm not, how can I give them the full love and affection that they need if I'm not mentally there or able to give them that? And I just think, I hope that we can all, as a community, as a society, can think about that more often. And I won't say other cultures, but I'll just speak about the U.S. Like, you know, I hope and wish that becomes a more normalized thing. Like, we're not judging and giving so much pressure on people to have kids, and just being more open and understanding to those who are just thinking about it a little bit more. You know what I mean?
You know, it's funny that you said that. You know, I know you said U.S., but even outside U.S., and to connect with our previous topic about anime, Japan is having a very tough time getting people to procreate. Their government, Tokyo's municipal government launched a dating app where, you know, Japanese citizens that are seriously ready to, you know, start a family can meet a person that they would, you know, be their spouse. Japan is said to have, what is it, like 45% elderly people as their population by the 2070s.
Wait, say it again? Those numbers?
Like 45% of Japan's population will be like geriatric people by the 2070s, and you know, that could be a whole other, you know, topic about like, you know, should we keep having children? Is that how we make a society keep going? Where, you know, because, you know, there's different factors, like you need, you know, governments would like their citizens that keep having children so then they can have a labor workforce, so then they can uphold values and stuff like that. But like some countries like Sweden, Norway, they have I don't want to say stagnant, but stagnant population rates where they're already in that situation where a lot of their population is already old heads that, you know, can't do the same stuff that younger people are doing, like when it comes to labor or invigorating the economy that younger people could.
Fascinating.
Yeah, kids aren't for me though. Me personally, but
What are your thoughts, Liz?
I'm not in a place to have a child, and I also don't appreciate when there are outside forces kind of like you have to have a child, like you're getting older, and it's like I actually don't have to do anything. Also, I think that we are very lucky to live in a society where like that's not the only job that a certain demographic or gender has to have as their like main occupation is like being a parent. But yeah, there's a lot more stuff that we can do. And also there's a lot of kids in the world that don't have a home.
That's big
And the
facts.
foster system in the US is heavily overrun. So do we really have to add to it? I don't know.
I agree.
Also, kids stink.
yeah.
Thanks you guys so much for being here today for the podcast.
Any final words?
Watashi
wa star.
Edamame.
Eren Yeager.
Eren Yeager.
Akira!
Yes. Episode whatever, you guys know what it is. My name is Teddy. We've got
Andrew.
and
Watashi wa star.
yes, Liz in the background moderating. Great job. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back again in about a couple weeks, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much.
Comment, like, and subscribe.
Yeah. Cool.